For the black hole in another world. So, who do you think still hasn't gotten their cutie marks yet? My friend said as we were walking to our school with a lot of pride in our vases. The apple one for sure. I said in a very sincere voice. I swear, she's never gonna get her cutie mark before our quinceanera this weekend. My friend said as we both chuckled a little as we reached the school with time to spare. We both walked in and took our seats, which were almost next to each other, but we were in between the permanent blank Apple, what's her name? The classroom was just as lively as ever. When the bell rang, "Let's quiet down, please. We have a very important lesson to get to," our teacher said as the class finally quieted down for once. "Thank you. Today we are going to be talking about cutie marks," our teacher said as she turned the page to her slideshow to show a bunch of cutie marks on the next piece of paper. "Boring," I said under my breath as I looked outside of the classroom window and saw that it was a really nice day outside. Too bad I couldn't go out instead. I had to sit through this waste of time. You can all see my cutie mark, can't you?" our teacher said as she showed the class the back side of her, where they could see her cutie mark. "Like all ponies, I wasn't born with a cutie mark. My flank was blank," our teacher said. "Aw, she's so precious," another pony named Twist said. Ugh, can't she just learn to speak like every pony else already? I rolled my eyes at this thought. Then, one day, when I was about your age, I woke up to find that a cutie mark had appeared, our teacher said as she showed the class a picture of herself with an embarrassing mane on her head. I couldn't keep myself together, and neither could the entire class, as we all broke out into laughter. "Look at your hair," I said as we continued to laugh. Our teacher rolled her eyes in what seemed to be a happy look on her face. "Yes, I know, but that's how every pony was wearing their manes back then. I had decided to become a teacher, and the flowers symbolized my hope that I could help my future students bloom if I nurtured them with knowledge and," our teacher said as she continued her lesson. I was getting more and more bored by the second, and was starting to zone out a little. I looked over to my friend, who was looking at her hooves with a boorish face. I heard Twist say, "When she discovers that it's something that makes her special." I looked over at Apple Bloom. I think that was her name, but I don't care to call her that, and started to call her attention away from her notes. I whispered as Apple Bloom turned her attention to me. "What?" Apple Bloom whispered back in a quiet yet louder voice for a whisper. I then reached into my desk and pulled a small note-sized piece of paper in my teeth, and tried to act casual as I passed it to Apple Bloom. At this point, my friend caught what I was doing and followed along as I wanted, as she signaled Apple Bloom to pass the note to her. Just as Apple Bloom was taking the note from my mouth, our eagle-eyed teacher caught her in the act. "Apple Bloom!" our teacher exclaimed as my face went from bored to excited, as I knew what was about to happen next. "Are you passing seen a note?" our teacher asked as Applebloom dropped the note in sheer panic. Uh, um, um, Applebloom said, as she was at a loss for words. Our teacher then walked over to her with an annoyed look on her face as she said, "What could be so important that it couldn't wait until after class?" She then went to inspect the note to find something odd. "It's blank," our teacher said with a hint of confusion in her voice. At this point, I had to let it all out as I chuckled a little. "Remind you of any pony?" I asked as me and my friend laughed, as Applebloom turned red at that very moment. Oh, it was so satisfyingly entertaining to watch my plan work out in the end. It's what she gets for slacking on her cutie mark anyway. I guess Miss Shirley had a good idea with the cutie mark presentation after all. Well, for the blank flanks anyway. Oh right, I guess we're doing this now. I don't know why I wanted to do this, but I'm doing it. My name's Diamond Tiara. That right there is my right hoof girl and my best friend, Silver Spoon. We are what you would call popular here at our school. We just go around and help the fellow blank flanks around by pushing them into discovering their cutie marks and whatnot. I know it may look bad with Apple, what's her name back there, but that was just to get her moving in the right direction and all. So what if it's cruel and mean? It's in the family to be this way after all. I'm supposed to follow my family and do whatever the heck they tell me to do. After all, a beautiful pink pony with a purple mane has to do what she can to make her name higher than those around her, right? Anyway, I'm sure to get more eyes on me and Silver's with me and Silver's quinceañera coming up this weekend. All I ever wanted is to have my name in lights, anyway. Now, moving on, as much as I want to talk about my successes, that's all I have to say for now. So, to make a long story short, the rest of the day was me and Silver talking about our new jewelry that we were going to make our daddies buy for us, and coming up with names for those blank flanks. There was more talk from Cheerly, but that's boring, so I'll skip to the good part. The second bell rang.